Luzhniki Stadium, Moscow, a sold-out crowd of 78,011 has packed into the Luzhniki for each of the 6 games the stadium has hosted so far, including Russia's 5-0 opening match win. Packed house, the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow. Photo: APIt was the main venue for the 1980 Olympics, and before its renovation the biggest football match it hosted was the 2008 Champions League final, in which John Terry memorably slipped over during the penalty shootout as Manchester United beat Chelsea. Key players: N'Golo Kanté, France. Since announcing himself on the world stage at Leicester City in their Cinderella title run of 2015-16, Kanté has been synonymous with success. Tireless, N'Golo Kanté was a huge part of both Leicester City and Chelsea's recent Premier League title-winning campaigns. Photo: APIt defensive midfielder is the beating heart of the team, often taking it upon himself to take the opposition's best player out of the game, as he did Lionel Messi in the round of 16 and Kevin De Bruyne in the semi-final. According to APIt statistics, France are unbeaten in 14 games when Kanté and Paul Pogba start in midfield together. Luka Modric, Croatia, has led by example for the entire tournament. When his teammates could barely move in extra time against Russia, the skipper was still tirelessly making runs and getting back in defense as though it was the opening 5 minutes. Superstar, Luka Modric may be the world's best midfielder. Photo: APIt luxury of having a number 10 who looks as comfortable making tackles as he does gliding past them has allowed the likes Ivan Perisic and Ante Rebic to thrive with extra space to work with. In the dugout, Didier Deschamps, France, loading despite reaching a quarter-final and now 2 finals in his 3 tournaments in charge, has remained an oft-criticized figure due to a style perceived as not befitting a team with France's quality of player. Showed awareness in switching from a 4-3-3 after a stuttering performance in the opening game against Australia to bring Olivier Giroud back in as the focal point of the attack. If France win, will become just the second man to win a World Cup as both captain and coach. Zlatko Dalic, Croatia, staked his future on the Croatians making the tournament, and that gamble has paid off big time, was brought in needing to win the last qualifying game in Ukraine to make the playoffs, did so, smashed Greece and breezed through the group stage. Has clearly found a system that works, centered around the side's world-class midfield. The game plan: France, adaptability is key for Les Bleus, who have adjusted to their opponent masterfully in each game. After seeing Belgium's counter-attacks shred Brazil, France sat deep and allowed their opponent the ball, effectively cutting supply lines to Romelu Lukaku, who was extremely quiet. They came out on the front foot against defensively fragile Argentina, and attack-challenged Uruguay, and will look to keep the ball central to nullify Croatia's strength out wide. Look for Blaise Matuidi to come deep, allowing Paul Pogba to move forward and create for Kylian Mbappé, who will cut in a lot, and Antoine Griezmann. Croatia, where France has made changes to suit the situation, Croatia have simply kept doing what has worked so well. England's back 3 were overrun at times by winger, full-back combinations on each flank, with Sime Vrsaljko and Ivan Strinic getting forward to help their front men. The Croats will be aware that France's fullbacks are more comfortable in the center, and will look to exploit that as often as possible. Mario Mandzukic is made for the big stage and is clinical given half a chance in the penalty area. With arguably the best midfield in the world, they are far more comfortable with the ball than most teams in this age of counter-attacking football. The key battle: Ivan Perisic versus Benjamin Pavard. Loading the Croatian winger was man of the match against England, and has had a fine tournament. Pavard is a centre-back at club level and question marks hang over his play out wide. He will have his hands full trying to deal with the guile and pace of the Inter Milan star Perisic. Luka Modric versus N'Golo Kanté. If you can stop Luka Modric, you can Croatia. But with more kilometers recorded at this World Cup than any other player, it's easier said than done, even for a defensive heavyweight like Kanté. Don't dismiss the France midfielder as simply a destroyer, though. His eye for a pass often sparks attacks, and Modric will need to be wary not to give him space when France has the ball. Dejan Lovren vs Antoine Griezmann, with Olivier Giroud likely tangling with the physical Domagoj Vida. This leaves the Liverpool defender with a task of containing the lightning-fast Griezmann, who will drop to find space for long-range shots. Lovren has played with a chip on his shoulder throughout the tournament, keen to exorcise the demons of a disappointing showing in the Champions League final, where his side lost to Real Madrid.